You say your last name Senshi?
That's actually my alias, but yeah, we'll call it Senshi. Yeah.
Is that the one you want me to use?
Yeah, we'll use that.
All right, guys, welcome. This is My Muscle Connection number 7. A little different time than usual because we have Akira Senshi from Toronto.
Hello.
Up in Canada, where the weather's looking pretty good over there. Akira's gonna talk to us. Well, him and Don both gonna talk to us about alternative energy healing and neuro-linguistic programming, what it is, what it can do, and the applications of it to help people like you all listening how to I guess put some fears aside or get a better positive thinking about something, just as far as like goal setting, goal reaching and stuff, the mental blocks that they put up. I mean, how would you describe what you do and how it can be applicable to what these guys are doing?
Yeah. Well, I think did you want to go, Domenick? Did you want to say
something? I want to before Akira starts, wanted to acknowledge him as a good friend of mine for the we've been good friends for about a year. We're getting closer, working together. But we both have had the same teacher over the last 10
That's
years.
Right.
And definitely before we start getting deep into it, I want to drop a acknowledge to our teacher, Ross Jeffries, who has without him, I'd probably be a really fat guy chasing girls. Some fat guy chasing girls around, buying them everything because I was too scared to ask him out. And definitely a guy who significantly gave me the tools to change my life completely. And so, we're both of us are his students, and we're here now, getting his material and kind of making it our own. And, just want to give him the props that he has deserved for what he's done over the last 33 years.
Let's put it this way. We wouldn't be having this conversation if it weren't for him.
Yeah.
Right. So
absolutely,
he definitely deserves that credit and honor. And it's an honor to be teaching alongside him and being a part of his undertaking. And it's significantly changed my life profoundly. Now, to answer Jed's question, what I do, it's called neuro-linguistic programming. And very simply put, it's a system of language-based tools that just rewire the way you think. So neuro, brain, linguistic, language, programming. So it's brain, language, programming. And if you really think about it, our minds are like computers, advanced ones, but nonetheless, we run on a certain program. Look at our daily routines. We program ourselves to get up at a certain time. We program ourselves to go to bed at a certain time. We program ourselves to do intermittent fasting. We program ourselves to do these number of reps at the gym. There's so many things that we set into our routine. It just becomes so natural. We don't even think about it. It's on autopilot, right? So the moment you interrupt that routine, you're changing something. You're changing a part of that programming. And that's exactly what I do. I'm here to intervene the common programming that we've been following our whole life and changing it so that it develops positive change. Does that make sense?
Yes. So for a broad example, it'd be the difference between saying I can't do this and I'm going to try doing this, something like that, just because as soon as somebody says they can or whatever, they immediately just don't even give it a shot.
A lot of people limitations will come straight from, you will hear it without them thinking about it. And that's when you can really identify someone's limitation right away. And this is also great advice for you as a trainer. When you're training somebody and they go, I can't, or something like that, and they don't even think about it, or, oh my God, I could have done 2 more.
Yep.
Without even really thinking about that thought. That's their actual limitation or their belief coming out through their language. And that's what's really special about NLP, is that language will dictate all the beliefs and everything that's you have programmed. You'll say it. So you can actually get a lot of information from your clients directly just by listening to when and how, what they say.
Yeah.
There was the first thing that came to my head, and this is not them saying something, but it's their body language that I detect when they're doing a set. And they start getting stuck and they start shaking their head. I immediately rip them in front of everybody when they do that shit. They start shaking their head. I'm like, dude, you're psyching yourself. What the fuck is that? Like, you're obviously doing it. You're telling yourself you can't and you're about to quit when you easily got 2 or 3 more reps in there. But the minute you start shaking your head and stuff, you've already quit in your head when you haven't even finished the set yet.
So what do they tell you when they say things like that, or when they do things like that?
Or, well, like let's use this example. Let's say they're doing so many plates on the leg press and it looks easy, so I throw on another. But since they hadn't done it before, you see it in their face. They start psyching themselves out. And you're like, dude, you just did this last set easy, and it's just one more plate. It shouldn't be that hard. Why? You're telling yourself it's too heavy because you haven't done it before. And now it's going to be twice as hard to do because you've already defeated yourself in your head before you got down there and do it.
Yeah. I think the main issue with that is that a lot of people, well, most people identify with processes. See, fear, confidence, anxiety, these are all processes. They're not identities. But a lot of people use them as identities. So I fear this. I am not confident. I am anxious. The I am is they're identifying with a process that's not really measurable. How do you measure anxiety? How do you measure confidence? By what units? Kilograms, centimeters? No, you can't. So once you start understanding that you can separate the fear from the way you think, you can separate the fear from your body. I think the significant change that can be made right there. And that's something that's part of what I do, is to help people get away from that process that they're identifying with so that they can see it from a different perspective. Right. And so once they disconnect, that fear no longer belongs to them.
No, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
So, one of the things I do to steer them away from that, because, if you get a lot of new people in the gym and stuff, as soon as they see those 45-pound plates, they start thinking and they start defeating themselves before they get up there. But I've literally done this. I put it on there. They've done it. They struggle. I'll take them off. I'll go to a 25, and then I'll put a 10 on top of that, and then a 10 on top of that. And it ends up being the exact same weight, but they can do it. I'm like, I just showed you that it wasn't too heavy, but because you don't see that big plate up there, you didn't psych yourself out and you didn't fuck up.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. So I learned that early on when I first started training, just because I saw people that knew they could do stuff, but because they saw the bigger plate. And it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, this shit happens.
It's not ridiculous. It's just, we link everything using our sensory perceptions. So your example right there, they look at the plate, automatically something's triggering inside their mind. It's too heavy. But the moment they look away from the plate, they don't even know that plate's there and they're able to do it. It's because they lose that link. They're able to separate. They don't even know it's there. So what you're doing actually, without knowing it, is you're separating that link. You're separating that visual link from all of these guys that are being trained, or girls.
How would that fall into the whole quantum thing? You know how some of those physicists say the element changes when you can't see it or when you do see it?
I really don't follow that stuff in much detail, because I believe in what's real, what is visibly tangible, something that's in front of me. I believe in real stuff. NLP, even though it's not based on truth, it is a model, and it's helped a lot of people, and I've seen it help a lot of people. It's helped me. So I believe in the change work that I do with people. So in terms of quantum physics and quantum thinking, I really don't follow that stuff in much detail. I think Dom is frozen. The camera's frozen.
I can hear him, but I can't see him. I just
something happened?
Yeah, I messaged you because I thought you had left. I said to log out and log back in, but I can't see you, but we can hear you.
You just got to turn your camera on again.
Probably.
Failed to start the video. Yeah, something's going on in my video. All right, so before I log back in again, when I was in Norway, the weights didn't have numbers on the dumbbell. So you went up there, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, how do I know what's what? How do I know what an 85 pound is, 95 pound is? So I asked the guy next to me. I was like, hey, what how do I know what's what here? Guy looks over and goes, if it's too heavy, go lighter. Because he didn't want people, you don't want people, you don't want people to focus on the weight. I'm like, this is a pretty awesome thing, because the mind doesn't understand number. It doesn't see 90 pounds. It doesn't see 80 pounds. It just feels tension.
Yep.
And I could have been putting up 215 pounds in each arm, and I have no idea. I could have been putting up 70 pounds. I just know I did enough to where I was able to, build muscle. So I'm going to log back in again. But one thing I wanted to talk about is not just in the fear aspect of training, but the fear aspect of competing in front of an audience, whether you're a wrestler, whether you're a bodybuilder about to go on stage and perform. You got, let's say 500 people watching you. A lot of people, I think, put too much meaning onto everything going on, and it tends to psych them out, and they can overthink, and not only overthink, but their electrical circuits kind of burn out. So Akira's got some great tools, some great tools that he can briefly describe, that he's actually working with me with, to actually kind of not just have more confidence, but send such a vibe out to the crowd that for some reason, you don't know why, but you want to just keep looking at me. So I'm gonna log out, log back in. Akira, if you want to talk about that.
We'll talk about that. So let's use this as an example. There's a village, all right, and there's a certain part in the village where nobody goes because the village chief mentioned, oh, you don't want to go there. There's a very, very dangerous, horrible monster that's going to eat all the kids and devour the entire village. So you don't want to go there. And so what happens is the fear sets in. Now everybody's living under this fear. Nobody wants to go to that part of the village anymore. But somehow, someday, this one villager decides to venture forth because, hey, he doesn't know what's out there. So he thought, why not explore? And he goes inside that part of the village, that dark space, and he discovers a cat. And he realizes that the fear that was set in the village was all fake. And that's the story. The reason why I'm mentioning that story is very similar to the situation you find at gyms. The moment you look at something that looks heavy, the fear sets in. You don't want to go near it. You don't want to touch it. You think that's too much. I can't do it. It's that link that I was talking about. It's that visual and mental link that you put. It's that meaning that you put onto these things called weights, the dumbbells.
Yeah.
And it automatically triggers this connection, this perception that you have that you can't do it because it looks too heavy. Look at the Shaolin monks. Do they know pain? They don't know any pain. How did they get there? They're human beings just like we are. But how did they get there? Of course, they had training. They had years of training to get past their pain threshold, their discipline, to be able to handle breaking bricks with their heads. But in our case, we don't have that kind of training. Instead, what we have are these tools, which you mentioned previously, and what I'm about to present eventually. These tools really help dissociate yourself from things like fear. And so you don't have to make that visual connection anymore. You don't have to make that mental connection. So your brain doesn't know fear. All it knows is the tension. And all you train is that tension. And that's it. And the more you train, the better your body's able to resist.
It's kind of like when you get angry on the weights. You ever get really pissed off, and for some reason that specific day, man, you put up some heavy weight. Why can't you do that every day? Why do you have to? You have to go visualize and create, because think about, especially a lot of ITs that watch it. We're both me and Jen are both ITs. You think about these processes as applications on a computer. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you see, when I see 415 on the squat, that kind of click that process, and it just creates, okay, 415, it's a lot of weight. You could hurt yourself. My buddy hurt himself. I saw somebody hurt themselves. Now your mind creates all these processes that happen just based off of that visual link. Now, if you saw a skinny guy easily squat on 415 like it's nothing, you basically might have that confidence to go in there, even though that weight may be heavy. It's a whole process of actually happening is different. And that explains a lot, not just in the gym, but a lot of life too, man. Like, think about like, and I'll use myself for example. I was, 2009, I asked out a pretty girl out on a date, and she basically was like, I don't like short guys. Like, because she said, come talk to me when you're 6 foot. That there set off an entire process that no pretty blonde girl will ever like me because I am not 6 foot tall.
There you go.
Right? There's, what is that? Is that a real fear? Is that a real? It's not a real limitation. It's fake. It's fake. Just like, it's just as fake as I can't get big because of my genetics. It's just as fake as, oh, I can't reach this physique because I have ABCD. It's just an excuse, is all it is. And we get all these excuses in our minds.
Do you ever use these techniques to teach people to combat stereotyping?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing that hit my head when he said that, is like that is, we are so bad at automatically stereotyping off of one instant.
Yep. I mean, I was actually going to mention that.
That goes with color, orientation, LGBT, race, everything. Yeah.
Everything. All we need is a single reference point to set an entire generation of stereotypes, right? It's like all we need is one event. Let's say, one girl tells you, oh, you look too dark for me. Now you're going to be thinking about that for your entire life. You're going to be saying, oh shit, I'm too dark. No girl's going to like me. And that becomes a limiting belief, right? Again, it's validation. See, as human beings, we constantly seek validation, constantly. And you know what the funny thing is? Every single fear that's happening now in today's world, these are all programmed fears. As humans, we're only born with 2 fears: the fear of loud sounds and the fear of falling. That's it. Everything else has been learned and taught and programmed, right? And we can unlearn that shit. We can unlearn that. Why? Because the mind does not know fear. The brain does not know fear. It's the visual perception that we have that creates fear, right? And that's the radical kind of thinking that I'm presenting to your audience, is stop thinking in terms of, I am scared, I am not confident to be able to lift these number of weights or whatever you have it. And that's kind of the idea, right?
What would you say for an athlete, or let's say a specific bodybuilder? Now, you gave me this exercise last week, and it was very, very profound, especially because I'm a big believer in NLP and very open-minded. So I'm going to ask you, but one thing about what I want to say real quick is, I think that as we grow up, school is supposed to help us, educate and learn, but I don't think we truly open our minds to the capacity that we really can. And one thing I love about NLP is that it says, wait a minute, what if this is possible? Like that, if I could put NLP into one sentence, is it says, well, what if this is possible? So what Akira had me doing is imagining that I'm my favorite superhero before I go on stage.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to think, I want to say right now, why would I do this? Well, I want to think at my level right now in bodybuilding, right? We're talking about every single person on that stage is motivated. Every single one is dedicated. Every single one is going to look great. How am I going to separate myself at completely other levels? I have to start doing it now on a mental, even almost spiritual level, to where I can still attract people to want to look at me. So this exercise, which I'll let you explain, is I'm doing it every day, and I'm feeling way more confident, except I don't use Superman. I use Thanos because, he's my favorite superhero.
There you go. I knew it.
Call him a superhero.
I knew it.
I made the universe great again. All right.
Dom and his fucking Thanos memes.
Jesus. Now, I was going to ask, Dom, what do you think about stimulants before a workout? Now, when we're talking about all this positive thinking and stuff, do you think it actually helps with somebody having a better workout, or it hurts them?
Absolutely. Yeah. Akira, explain it. I'm gonna explain the exercise. I did it yesterday.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Explain the drill, and I'll explain on how it actually worked.
Yeah. So I just want to give some background. So I think growing up, we all love comics. We really look at comics and we go, shit, I wish I was like Superman. I wish I was like Deadpool or something. You know, you kind of look at that, you idolize comics, you put up posters in your room and you kind of model yourself towards being like them. In the same instance, if you actually start posing like them, you start to take on their qualities subconsciously because you idolize them already. You already have them as a reference in your head. And all you're doing is you're just posing like Superman. You're thinking about Superman as you're doing it. And then you go, holy crap, I'm actually feeling good about this. You do this every morning. You're actually modeling happiness. You're modeling confidence. You're modeling all those great qualities that Superman possesses every day. And that becomes a program in your head that you're creating a new program inside your head. And that develops the new confidence that you can get every single day. And then I think Dom's been doing it pretty religiously, and he's seeing results with that, I presume.
My strength and my confidence with weightlifting now and his bodybuilding has, over the last week and a half of actually doing this, seen significant difference. So yesterday it was doing legs, my favorite body part, and we were on the last workout, and I put the weight to I was on the free motion squat. I put it down to 320. This was when I was already burnt out. Like, I don't know how I was gonna get the fucking weight
that
out.
fucking machine.
What's up?
That fucking machine is ridiculous.
It's great though. It's fucking great. But I imagined myself actually as Thanos with the gauntlet, and I
with the gauntlet in your hand.
I went, and you can ask my training partner Sam, who's watching now. I will sit and quote Thanos as I train, and I was like, I could snap my fingers and he would all cease to exist. And I go down, I say, it does. It sounds crazy, right? And then I'll get off, and then he'll train. I'll look at him and I'll be like, it's frightening. Turns the legs to jelly. But when you start quoting and then picturing yourself and with all the qualities of this Titan superhero, you start to feel and believe that you are actually this person. Now, here's a crazy thing. I actually want to talk to you about this. There was a study done. It was the early 2000s, right? There was a kid who he was like 7 or 8 years old, and he was diagnosed with cancer, right? He would believe that he would play in his room that he was Luke Skywalker, and his mom heard him playing Star Wars, but he wasn't fighting Darth Vader. Darth Vader was his cancer. And he would say, I defeat you, cancer, and beat him. He's like, Mom, I'm beating my cancer. Within like a couple of months, his cancer was gone. Because he believed with such a thing that he was fighting his cancer. Now, honestly, I think our minds can open up to that level. Definitely. Napoleon Hill talks about this in Think and Grow Rich. If you ever read that book it was written in 1930s. And I can say it's really the foundation of motivation, but he even said too, when you believe something, you back it with faith, there is a power that he calls it the sixth sense that you reach into. And I think that's what we're really referring to now is we're modeling superheroes. We're getting into the mind and all the emotions of superheroes, except it just sounds weird to other people. You know what I mean? It
sounds weird, but it's not, because and this is actually the technique is called modeling. You mentioned it. This is exactly what it is. You're taking on the qualities of people that are successful, and you're instilling them within yourself so that you actually start to feel that way. And in feeling that way, you start to do certain things that are very similar to what they've been doing. And again, so and then the process just kicks in. And the rest is self-explanatory. You just start doing everything that they have been doing to achieve their own success, right?
Do you think music, like listening to, so like when I train, I've listened to the same soundtrack since 2003. I listen to like the Rocky soundtrack and a lot of like motivating music. Do you think that by listening to that in the background, listen, you're the best around, Eye the Tiger and Hearts on Fire, do you think that's actually programming the mind as well?
In a manner of speaking, yes. I use music all the time when I'm doing stuff. Music's such a huge part of me. Why do you think people associate moods with music? Because music connects the body, it connects the mind, it connects the subconscious to think and feel a certain way, right? You got jazz for people that just want to relax and kick back. I actually I like Cuban jazz. That's that explains the shirt that I'm wearing. And you've got different music. You've got different styles of music for different moods and different feelings. So I think there is some truth in that. You can actually use music as a self-motivating tool.
I think we're going to learn in the next, I'm going to say 5 to 10 years, that vibrations and frequencies are on a whole nother level that we haven't even come close to achieving yet. And when people realize how important that is to even connect, I won't get too deep into it, but just, for now, it's to someone, it's just a song that reminds them of something, makes them feel like that. But I think there's a lot more into it than that. I think sound and frequency and stuff it'll advance to a level that we never thought possible. So when you guys were talking about that stuff, with the stuff that I've researched in the past couple of years, I started hearing elements of that. Also, speaking of that, what you were talking about the modeling, we are in a society now. I don't know how it is in Canada, but here in the States, a lot of people are under the impression that you're supposed to be a victim of something. Like you need some kind of label, you need to be oppressed of some sort. There needs to be some negativity. And now we have all these tons of labels out there. If you're a little bit different with this, you're called this and that. And it's this whole thing of I'll say it's almost the point of being victimized. And
it's the same here. It's the same here.
I see it, and I see it all the time. And and when I get clients that are like that, they can never accept anything themselves. They blame everything else for their shortfalls. I'm like, you know what? As long as you keep acting like a victim, you're going to keep being a fucking victim. And you're never going to get anywhere because you're always going to blame something else. You don't own up to your shit, and you won't stop making excuses. So when you get into this whole visualization and mindset, I think, and I've said this, I think I've said on this show before, the main problem people have is they always think of their better self in the future. They're not concentrating on how they're thinking themselves in the present. That's why they never get there. If you're trying to be somebody big, strong, bodybuilder, whatever, you got to start acting that role and doing that shit now. Not, well, when I'm bigger on down the road. No, fuck that, dude. Right now you're playing a victim. You're being a fucking victim. You're blaming everything because you can't eat your meals. You can't do this. You can't do that. And you're just being a whiny bitch that's not going anywhere. You have to start changing that shit now. So that's
I'll give you 3 words. I'll give you 3 words that you can use with your clients, with the people you're training. I'll give you 3 words that will stop them in their tracks and get them to actually think in present tense, not in future tense. Every time they say shit like, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that." Just say, "Up until now."
I guessed it.
Up until now.
Yep. Up until now, it was the case.
It was the case. But from now, things are different. This is beautiful saying that I go by. I love this saying to death. Okay. And I actually got it from Kung Fu Panda. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. And today is a gift. And that's why they call it the present. Right? Very profound stuff if you actually think about it. Because we spend so much time worrying about tomorrow. When's tomorrow okay, you know what? I'm gonna do my exercise tomorrow morning. I'm gonna start tomorrow morning. I'm gonna start dieting tomorrow morning. That's a good way to start. They don't think in terms of now. Why? Because they're too scared to. They're too scared to take that first step. Because like you said, they think they're victims. But the moment you say up until now, it stops. It's a pattern interrupt. It stops them. It's like, wait a second, he's right. Up until now. Yeah. Okay, so from now, what's going to happen from now? You don't know. But you have to take that first step.
Right. So up until now, it was the case that I was not big enough, but now I'm not only big enough, but now here you could also increase. And we both of us, we both actually learned this. So this is straight from freaking Ross Jeffries. This is straight. This sentence is so powerful in life. It got me through a hard time. My ex-girlfriend Julie stole 10 grand from me last year.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. She stole $10,000 from me.
I remember that.
I just did not want to bodybuild anymore. Not just from that, but I mean the COVID, the money was taken. I lost my orders to Hawaii originally. And I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, I'm struggling for what? Just to win a bodybuilding show. So Ross actually messaged me. He was like, we need to talk. And one of the things he told me was that sentence. Up until now, it was the case that, and it was my limiting belief at the time, that I can't get through these hard times, but I embrace the challenges of my life and I'm thankful. So instead of actually being mad you have all these problems, be grateful that you get to have them, because they're going to make you a better person. All of those issues that we have, you know, this is not just, we're not just talking about the gym and dieting, right? We're talking about real life shit. Yeah. You could say, you can be grateful. I am grateful for the opportunity to be a big, gigantic athlete. I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to compete at the national level. I am grateful for all the challenges. That's what's called reframing in NLP. Yes. You start, instead of looking at it this way, we're now going to look at it that way. When you do that, it changes the game. They moved me, actually, in the Navy, they moved me from one position to another position. I've got a whole much more work to do, way 2-3 times the amount of work to do, right, than I did. But I have a much better schedule. Sleeping's better, eating's better. So instead of saying, man, I got so much more work to do, it was better where I was at, I get to say, hey, you know what? I'm grateful for these challenges, and I'm grateful for the fact that I now get to go and spend my days building muscle, sleeping on time, going to bed on time, everything's good. And I show my gratefulness. That, I think, would significantly change the victimization issue in the whole country.
Reframing is such a huge tool a lot of people underestimate. The moment you start reframing the way you think, you're automatically creating change in your life. You don't have to go and see, and I don't mean any disrespect to all the therapists out there and all the psychotherapists, but I'm just saying, once you start understanding these basic tools, it prevents you from spending that money to go and see a therapist, because you're now empowered to use these basic tools. Reframe the way you think. Stop, interrupt the pattern that's in your heads, and do something that's completely outside the box. Do something that's completely different than what you were doing before.
It's just hard to do. It's hard to do. We're not saying this is easy. We're not saying, well, I'm thinking this way.
No. Yeah,
this is not easy. You're programmed for so long that now you got to force yourself to look this way. It's not easy by any means.
Yeah, I mean, I've helped people through a couple of sessions, maybe 1 or 2 sessions, and I've set them on their way, and they've come back and said, "Shit, dude, you know, this has changed the way I think, and it's actually creating this change that I want, and I'm seeing results with it." And I've had clients that have come back to me and said, you know what, the moment you started talking about it, I realized how wrong I was my entire life, right? And so, again, it depends on the individual. It's not easy for some, easy for others, but again, it really depends on who's working with you and who's willing to make that change and invest in them, in themselves, right?
There was I was watching a series not too long ago where this guy was actually he was trying to link the positive thinking and how it can change your outcome and stuff with actual scientific data. He was actually getting it done with changing, like when you said with the kid with cancer, right? He would take these people that had these illnesses and he would try detecting the genes that favor the disease and that don't favor the disease. And as he ran them through mental exercises, he saw the genes that favored the exercise, that favored the disease shutting off, and the ones that fought it were turning on. And so he is trying to scientifically data show that this whole positive thinking mental stuff isn't a bunch of bullshit, like it's true. And he's linking them two together. And he's got like a 10-part series somewhere on the internet I found, and 13-part series. And it's really good because like you said, when you first start watching, it sounds a little cheesy, but then you start looking at that and you start seeing the people he helped and things, you're like, dude, this makes a lot of sense. This is kind of weird. And go ahead.
Ross Jeffrey said, you know, you get what you put out into the world. You know, you're going to get back what you put out. What you focus on is what you're going to dwell on. You know, if we people, and this is he taught me this 2010. This was really, really good. He said, you get the most successful person you know, right? And what if they sat and dwelled on all their fuck ups, all their mistakes that they made, and they focused on that? Would they still be a successful person? No, they wouldn't. Right? Because a lot of the things we do wrong, we do this from school, right? In school, what do? We get our homework assignment back, and the first thing, or your test back. What do? You look for everything you did wrong. When do people start looking at what they did was right?
Which is why I fucking hate the grading system in schools.
Yeah. because they
hate
want
that.
us to focus on everything
Yeah.
you did that was wrong. Look,
It's a big X. They put a big X next to your mistakes and say,
In
look,
red.
you did this wrong. In red. Look at
Yeah.
this. And that's what's going to be in our heads the whole time. It's like, shit, I fucked up in school.
And yeah, we're trained our whole life to focus on our mistakes. My biggest turnaround I made was focusing on the things I did right first, no matter what it was. It could be if you're training with Jed, or you're training and you just went to the gym on day one and you just got off your ass and got there. I went today. I made it. I didn't finish the workout. This is new to me. But you know what? I got up today. You know what? Tomorrow I'm going to get up again, but I'm going to finish the workout. You build off that.
Because it's all steps forward. There's nothing negative about that. I mean, you did more than you did the day before. You got better the day before. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, it's positive. That's good.
Most people don't have that. They'll think, oh my God, I fell. I didn't finish my workout. No, focus on what you did was right. Focus on the good things.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'll give you a quick tool. I'll give you a very quick tool. 4 questions that you can start asking yourself, okay, on a daily basis. This can apply. I actually give this to all the students that are studying seduction, but this can be applied to any part of life. It doesn't matter. 4 questions. First question is, what did I do right? Second question, what can I do differently? Third question, what can I do more of? Fourth, what can I do less of? That's it. Once you have the answers to that, you can apply those learnings into the next session or the next adventure in your life or whatever it may be, right? Just 4 questions. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead. You were going to say something. Jed.
No, shit, I can't remember now.
Yeah, we're kind of, that was really good. We're kind of like, that's a fucking.
You're translating.
I want to fucking write that shit out, and put that out to send that out, because those are that, and I think there's a 5th one, not a 5th one, but a 5th one I want to put on there. Let this past go.
Yeah.
What happens with a lot of people, this happened to myself for years, and I think a lot of people, especially in your business, Akira, with dealing with women, they'll dwell on shit, and instead of just saying let it go, well, hey, you had a bad workout, dude. I've had days where I went to the gym, I left fucking pissed off. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna let it go. It's over. It's done. Kobe Bryant missed 4. I say it all the time. His very first game as a professional, missed 4. He made 4 air balls, missed 4 shots. This shit ain't gonna happen again, he said, and he let it go. That I think I would say the 5th one is, let the fucking past go. So that way we can separate ourselves from the shit we did wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. And I think, would this be a good time to introduce one of the tools I think we talked about, Domenick?
Yep.
So I was actually working with Dom. I think this was last year. I think we did something similar where I kind of shifted the energy and changed
signal recognition, transmutation.
This is more of alternate energy healing. It's very similar to signal recognition technique. And so what this is, would there be someone willing to volunteer? Either you or Jed.
I think Jed would definitely be. I've worked with you a lot. I think Jed I think by Jed experiencing this would actually help him out. So I think Jed would definitely. You're up.
You're up. All right, let's do this. Okay.
All right.
New victim. All right. So Jed, here's what I'd like you to do. I want you to focus on a belief, a negative belief that's been haunting you for a while now. Something that really troubles you and it's kind of eating at you from the inside, but you can't. It's not something that you can just brush away. Something that you really believe in to be true, negatively.
Is that the instead of a belief, can it be like an incident or something? That
can be anything. Can be anything.
Okay.
And you don't have to tell me what it is.
Okay.
I just want you to bring that feeling back. Okay. I want you to focus in on that feeling.
Okay.
Let me know when you have it.
Oh no, I'm good. What now?
Okay. Here's what I'd like you to do. There's a certain part in your body that you actually feel this feeling. I want you to point to it. What part of your body do you feel this feeling at?
Here.
The chest?
Yes.
Okay. Here's what I'd like you to do. You can close your eyes for this if you want to, but you don't have to.
Okay.
So I want you to tune into that feeling in your chest and notice as you're tuning in, there's a certain color associated with that feeling. What color is it? Take your time.
Keep seeing more of like reddish violet, purple,
Reddish
like around
violet.
that. Yeah.
Okay. We'll go with violet. All
Okay.
right. So here's what I'd like you to do. I want to take this. I want you to take this violet energy with your hands. Hold up your hands in front of your chest. I want you to start pulling this violet energy from your chest. Pull it out. Look at me. Look at this. Pull it out. Pull it out from your chest. Keep pulling it out. Make sure it's all in your hands. Pull that shit out because sometimes that shit hides. Keep pulling it out. Everything, all of it. And when you have it in your hands, let me know.
Okay.
Okay, now look at your hand and notice that this violet energy is spinning in a certain direction. Is it spinning clockwise or counterclockwise?
Clockwise.
Here's what I'd like you to do. Hold your hands like a steering wheel. And I want you to turn this energy and spin it in the opposite direction. So you're going to spin it in the opposite direction. Keep spinning it like a steering wheel. Keep spinning it. The bigger it gets, notice that the color changes. What color is it now?
More orange.
Orange. Very good. Keep spinning this orange energy. Make it as big as possible. The bigger it is, the bigger it gets, the better the feeling. The better the feeling, the bigger it gets. Keep spinning it. Spin it, spin it, spin it. And notice it starts to have a mind of its own. And when you know you can't control it anymore and it has a mind of its own, slam it back into your chest. Slam it back right into that spot where you found it from. Slam it. There you go. Now breathe. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Let's go 5 times. Breathe in again. And let this feeling, let this orange energy just completely take over your body. Let it go through every single part. Your fingers, your legs, your neck, your head. Just relax. Find yourself just completely relaxed. And as you tune in, notice how the feeling has changed. You can open your eyes. How do you feel now?
It's calmer.
There you go.
Like the anxiety is not there like it was.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. And now the moment you try to bring that other feeling back, it's not there anymore. You can't, because now the body recognizes this orange energy that's inside you.
What's the significance in the colors?
That's how we link. That's how we link, because we think in terms of sensory perceptions.
So just
Right.
the fact that it's changing, no matter what the colors are, just the fact that it's changing, it's going from bad to good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Because the feeling, if we connect it to a color, it becomes easier to recognize the feeling. It becomes easier to recognize what we want and what we don't want. We don't want that violet energy. We want this orange, because this is the first thing that comes to our mind. But the moment I asked you that question, what color do you see now? You want the color that you like, that you want to see. And that's what you saw. You saw that orange energy.
Yeah. We're also creating nothing and turning it into something, which is very interesting. Feelings aren't anything. You can't actually, this exercise does actually creates a measurable thing.
Yes.
That you can now turn into. And this really goes back into what we were talking about, imagining your favorite superhero and stuff. You have to really open your mind to this new concept of getting things and enhancing. You could also enhance feelings even more too. This is something that we would talk about more offline type stuff, where you can get a feeling, where you feel a little bit and you can actually enhance it and make it bigger, because there's no measurable actual feelings. You create them. So this exercise, I actually used to do this daily. I did this daily for months and months and months on end. To handle specific weak area points in my life. People don't really know this about me, but I was to be a really shy motherfucker. I would not be able to look in the mirror. I'm telling you the truth, man. This is not bullshit. I'm 100% open and real with everybody. Couldn't look in the mirror. I was so scared of rejection, so afraid that I did this exercise every single day until all those things changed about me. And what I would do is I would get those feelings, change them, put them back in, and then go out into the real world and embrace those feelings. And now I'd have to create the pattern and the repetition. The mind wants to do what it's used to doing, right? We can all agree on that. It likes repetition. It likes doing the same shit. Yeah. You have to not just do this exercise, but now you have to go into the real world and create the normality of it. So the brain does it automatically.
Yeah. And I can relate to this, Dominic, and I'm going to be just as open as you are. You know, when I was a kid, I was molested. I was molested when I was a child. All right. And I'm being completely open about it. And that screwed up my way of thinking. I was shit scared of women. I was like, not in the way that a lot of guys think that they're scared. I was fearful of women. I thought that was a fear. I thought that was real. And I moved through the world that way. I would never go close to a woman at all. Like just seeing them itself was disgusting to me. And so to the point where I had to really reprogram and rejig my entire line of thought, my program, my code. It took a while. I had to see a couple of therapists. I had to see a few people, alternative energy healers, and Ross himself. Actually, Ross did the best change work on me.
He is the best.
Right?
He is the fucking goat.
And it wasn't an actual session that I had with him. It was just by me applying the stuff that he was teaching through his seminars, his recorded stuff, his audios, everything. I applied it, and it just created this massive change. Right.
So what I want to be doing when I retire from the military in 6 years is I want to be getting all these tools we learned. And I want to be able to get that, you know, hopefully I can stay here in Hawaii. You know what I mean? And maybe Jed, this may be something you're interested in too, you know, maybe working together, just talk about future reference stuff, is getting athletes, getting a basketball player who can't make that for, you know what I mean? He always seems to choke, or that wrestler who just can't seem to win first place because they choke, or they get too scared when, oh my God, I'm in the finals, and be able to use these tools to reframe their mind, create new habits. So that way, instead of, you know, thinking, oh, I hope I make the shot, like that, I fucking got it. If I miss it, fuck it. You know, that's what I want to be doing. That's ultimately my plan is when I retire from the Navy, I'm going to be not only just a personal trainer, but use this energy and healing work. I think of a lot of adolescents, you know, a lot of our fears that we have, I think, come from adolescence. Yeah. They come from high school. Fucking up in high school is going to affect you later on. Getting rejected in high school on a prom date is going to affect you later on in life. Those are all, I think, all this shit comes. I don't know if that's anybody else believes that, but I think for me, that's where it starts off. All your limitations start in high school.
And social media right now.
High schoolers and athletes.
Yeah. Social media too. Right?
Depends. I don't let social media get to me. I think that social media, if you put the meaning to it,
yeah, if you put the meaning to it, yes, it can be used as both a bad tool and a good tool, right?
Yeah. My frame is this is my frame for social media: childish, a waste of time, and makes unimportant people feel important. So that's how I look at it. I mean, to me, it's just scroll and laugh, promote my shit, and that's it. It's all the good life.
Actually, I look at people different now because of social media, because now I realize why they post the shit they post. Like, you think people will post shit because I don't know. I guess now I can tell when people are really just like douchebags trying to get attention.
No, it's validation.
Stuff like that. Yeah. It's like, right? Yeah, it's you go into it thinking, oh man, these people are the shit and stuff. Then you realize, oh, these are just people that have insecurities trying to get attention and stuff. And you know, that's an example. I mean, that's some stuff that I've noticed when I meet some of these people in person and see them. I'm like, what the fuck? This is not, you know.
Yeah. I mean, attention is the new currency, right? Attention and validation is the new currency that we're living with, right? So like, look at the number of likes people scramble after. You know, those models on Instagram, the more likes they have, the better they feel. Yeah. And they just keep adding people, but they never talk to them. You ever notice that?
It's like, well, they have followers. So yeah, they have followers. Instagram models like to keep their following below 500, like their credit score. You know,
exactly.
And it never everybody Instagram models. It's just I had to take a shot there.
I think what it's going to go to eventually people see the truth. And with the cancel culture and stuff out now, this is going to be hard to do. But I think what's going to end up becoming more popular is people that don't have a filter, people that are very transparent, people that throw all their, ever since, because I've got another social media project I do besides this, and I throw all my shit out there. And I don't know, it kind of works as therapy for me too. But I've noticed the followers I get there are a little bit more genuine, and we may not have as many followers, but the ones that they were more engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I'm starting to see a trend. Like years ago, I used to tell people that foo-foo gym shit is going to go out of style and people are going to go back to like hardcore fucking gyms because this corporate shit doesn't get results. It just it gives you what we call in the military, Dom, the warm and fuzzy. So you feel good about it and you keep pumping your money into it because as long as they have new people coming in, they can afford to have people leaving.
Planet Fitness.
Yeah, and eventually that people are going to be like, man, I don't get shit here. And now the gyms that I work at here on Island that are more either franchise or private, more and more and more people are coming in to the point where we're having to figure out how in the fuck are we going to expand because people are buying into the bullshit.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. That's why I love what Dom's giving me. He's giving me an excellent schedule and routine for physical transformation. I'm actually working on it. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I love it. I get up every morning looking forward to it. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, this is definitely was a great fucking conversation today. I hope do you have any questions or comments, Jed, at all from
just
anybody?
a couple people commenting on shit. Like Naomi, my friend from North Bay, she's watching, and one of the things you said about the superhero thing, she talked about how she used to have pictures of like Britney Spears and Destiny's Child on her wall, and she would emulate them on like a subconscious level, and that kind of explains like how she carries herself and things like that. And
Amazing.
then Sammy Stories is here, so of course he's I don't know, he just made random comments. I'm trying to find
that sounds classic. My workout partner, old Sammy
Yeah.
Stories.
But I mean, he also said like it's the point of bad shit that happens that shapes you for the person you are today. So it's like, and you got to have bad and good, right? But I mean, I always call it finding the silver lining. Like I think recently over the past couple of years, because I used to do the victim shit a lot. Well, I could, but this happened. I couldn't, but this thing fucked me over. And I'm just like, I had to start looking at it differently because I wasn't going anywhere. So when something bad happens, I'm just like, well, I got this out of it, and this is going to help me go over here. Or I'll be like, you know what? I should probably never do that shit again. That was dumb.
Yeah.
So
this is the way I look at it. This is the way I look at it. And this is actually, again, from Master Ross himself, but I follow it to a T. There's no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. Everything that happens to you, you just learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a learning experience. I don't look at anything as failure. It's all just feedback for me. If something doesn't go favorably, and now I know what not to do, and now I can go and do the stuff that I want to do.
Yep.
The right way, right?
This happened 2014 when I did the Paradise Cup, and I got third. And I got off. I was kind of pissed off at first, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're doing the big show, the Ferrigno Legacy, in a few weeks." And how do you feel about that? You didn't even win this time. And my exact words said that I'm either going to get what I want, or I'm going to enjoy learning the process to get what I want, or better. And the or better part is really the part that sticks. It's such a powerful belief to have, because no matter what it is, if this doesn't work out, I'm either going to get this or something even better than that.
Yep.
Yeah. This might be relative to what you said. Sometimes I'll get people that have tried all kinds of programs and they can't get anywhere. And if they say, well, no, is this time going to work? I was like, well, we're going to find out why everything hasn't worked. Like, that's a different way you want to look at it. We're troubleshooting. I don't want you to think, oh, here's my plan, follow, I'm going to get there. It's like, you got to have the mindset of, this is a process. We have to identify where you're fucking up so we can figure out what not to do and what we've learned from it. And you kind of have to change them into a kind of a troubleshooting or mathematical process so that when we hit a bump in the road, because there's some people out there that's bodies are fucking stubborn, and you have to like throw things at them, analyze symptoms, troubleshoot, and you have to get them ready for that because they're expecting this wake up the next day and have this new body. I'm like, well, you already know that doesn't fucking work. So I have to like change how they think about stuff. And be like, you have to start seeing the positives out of every time you hit a bump in the road, because now we can mark that off. And granted, I'm experienced, so there's going to be less bumps in the road, but I'm also going to teach you that because this happened, this is why this happened. This is why you don't do this. And this is why this option's better. So I have to reframe. I have to change how they think about stuff when I start working with them. And it's because if you don't, their patience is going to wear thin. They're going to want to quit, and they're just going to focus on all the negative stuff.
Yeah, they're going to start bringing in all that noise and back into their heads.
And it's like a snowball going downhill. The minute one thing goes wrong and their anxiety goes up, and I'm guilty of this shit. And it's just like, oh, the whole day is ruined. It's like, no, man, you just forgot to fucking put this on there. It's not a big deal. Just carry on with the rest of the day. Shut up. Tomorrow, get up and don't do it tomorrow. You're fine.
Look, yeah, one of the things I like to say to that is don't fight your thoughts, but accept them and say, thank you, beautiful thoughts, for coming into my head. But now I release you with love. And that's it. That's like, this is, again, what I've learned from, and I think Dom can talk about this too. This is something we learned from our teacher. Thank you, beautiful thoughts, for coming into our head. Because the moment we fight our thoughts, it's friction. You can't use an unstoppable force to fight another unstoppable force. Your thoughts are just going to keep flooding in. So if you accept them and say, you know what? Okay, I'm thinking these thoughts. They're there. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. But now I just release you with love. Go back.
Nicest way to say fuck off I've ever heard.
Exactly. It's the nicest way to say fuck off to your thoughts.
And you know what? This is why I love this podcast, the Mind Muscle Connection, because no other fucking podcast sits and talks about this shit. Nobody's talking about all, like, you know, Phil Heath, 7-time Mr. Olympia, and the guy starting the gym on day one. Let me tell you something. We all deal with the same shit. Every single one of us we all, you know, Akira, the shit that you're talking about, the shit I'm talking about, we all are dealing with the same shit. The difference between the guy that finishes and the guy that wins is we just handle our shit differently. Yeah. And this is what this podcast is about. It's about saying, hey, look, you know, this is mostly about bodybuilding and athletics and the gym, but we're taking shit that's used for help people that are petrified of even ever talking to a girl and saying, hey, these are the tools that I've used. To help get you to this next level. You know, gonna be championships I've won working on getting to Olympia. I'm using these tools. Look, these tools work. You know, that's where I want people to say, these tools, they work. You know, if anybody wants to work directly with me, Akira, or I don't know, I'm trying to slow the real RJ in. I would like him to move to working with athletes, or maybe that's something that he would let me go on to doing. But just understand that these tools work. And we all deal with the same shit in life. Every one of us. We just handle the shit differently. That's the difference.
I want to make a point that, you know, somebody can initially see this podcast and be like, well, you know, this is alternative energy. This, you know, reframing words and thought, this really isn't for me. But every fucking one of you that has listened to this, that's a gym rat, bodybuilder, whatever, has already realized there's something we've talked about that you can use to make you better in your training, or a better competitor, or a better person. You know, for instance, that exercise he just put me through, that anxiety stuff, that had nothing to do with the gym emotion or nothing like that. That had to deal with a breakup that I regret that happened fucking few years ago. Now, if I can take that and change it and get it to go away, all the fears that you have going into the gym, or starting a program, or doing something you haven't done before, or going to the gym, being anxious about what people think about you, you can do that same and apply. Am I correct? You can apply those same tools to a different emotion and fix it. Just because I apply it to that doesn't mean that's the only incidents you apply that exercise to. So think about the shit that gets you scared in the gym, the shit that gives you the anxiety to try something, or go on a program, or hire a coach, or ask somebody, any of that stuff, and use the same exercises with that.
Exactly.
That's why we're talking about this now. I mean, you can apply it to all kinds of stuff. So, because I know people are going to have that impression, because honestly, I wasn't real big in all this spiritual shit, you know, until just like a year ago when we got COVID. I was stuck in my room, I had nothing to fucking do. Right. So I hear people talk about it, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna watch a few shows, stuff on board. I start looking into it. I'm like, dude, this is actually there's some real science backing this shit up. This is kind of weird. And you start looking into it more and more. And then you hear one guy talk about some crazy shit, and this guy talk about crazy shit that don't know each other, but you start seeing how the puzzles are fitting together. And you're like, well, if these guys are thinking like this, there's got to be some truth to it. And then you start looking into it, and you go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, and you start finding all this stuff you wish you would have found years ago and you could apply to yourself.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. And it's funny because since I've been looking into it, like now we did this podcast, like more and more stuff to that topic. Because I don't know if it's being thrown at me, or if I'm just now realizing it because I've studied it a little bit, or what. But
I think it's because you're embracing it more. We talk about this shit every week. We're talking about different aspects of the mind, so you're more aware of it now when you go out. And now that you're more aware of it, you're saying, hey, these are the feelings I'm feeling. Hey, these are my limitations. Hey, this is how Kobe thought. Hey, this is how Tim Grover teaches. Hey, now you got Ross Jeffries teaching. So your mind now is going to such different directions, and you're probably definitely seeing it in your client specifically too. Like, hey, you know, this is limitations right now. Hey, this is what he needs to do. So I think that's why you're more awoken to it. Is it's becoming an everyday thing.
Yeah, I got one more question before we call it a day that I thought, I'm glad I remembered it. Do you think, for a simple, like how you were teaching me how it doesn't matter the color, the change of the color, because it makes you see things differently and all that stuff. Do you think that these are like elementary teachings that'll eventually evolve to teach us to unlock the full capacity of what we're able to do as far as our brain, our mind, how we think? Because a lot of people out there think that we haven't even started to untap the potential of what we're able to do if we know how to think properly and use our brain a certain way. And you have to do that through exercises just like that. So do you think somewhere in the future that we're going to find out that we're capable of doing shit that we never thought possible by taking these exercises and kind of rewiring, or even not even rewiring, just discovering how our brain actually fucking works and what it's capable of doing?
Yeah. I mean, leave the future alone. I think it's already happening now. I mean, the stuff that people are going through now and being able to change that. I'll give you an example. I was working with this guy who had a phobia. For the love of God, he couldn't stand closed rooms. He had claustrophobia. He couldn't even get inside an elevator. And in 15 minutes, I had him walking into the elevator and going all the way down to the ground floor and then coming back up and then telling me I enjoyed the ride. So the future is already here. We're already able to change the way we think. We're already able to use the tools that are presented to us to create this transformation within ourselves. So I think the future is now. I really do think so. I think we start applying this. You get your listeners to start applying these tools and seeing positive change, word of mouth, right?
It gets me excited to think, because I'm hoping in my lifetime that we evolve to that point to where like we're doing shit that people never even thought we could do. As far as I just took an emotion and just switched it off by doing an exercise.
Yep.
Something that I can't fix, that's over with, but for some reason it's still eating my fucking chest to where I can't stand it. And now I know, just turn that shit off.
Yeah. And how long did that take you?
It's a few minutes.
And how long have you been carrying that?
Fucking ever, years. And the thing is, if it comes back, I'll know how to turn it off again. Yes, eventually it'll stay gone.
Yes, you have to go through the repetitions and do it. That's the thing too, is you do it once, shit does come back up. Mm-hmm. Old shit does come back up.
It does come back up, but then you now have the tools to do it.
Yeah, like, so you have to go through it.
I'll tell you, like, when we talk about dark side and stuff, I still don't know what mine is, but I can tell you what one of my weaknesses is. And that's, I have a hard time dealing with breakups. Like, I can break up with somebody, but that shit will eat at me for like 2 fucking years before I'm finally over it. And it will fuck up everything I do when talking to other people. Like, I'll put a guard up and I will be like, I don't even want to go get serious with anything, because I'm just can't get over the last one. And I have the hardest time with that shit.
Up until now, it was the case.
Now.
But I mean, I just don't.
You see what I mean?
I don't know if it's because some parts of me are too nice. I don't want to be like, fuck this person or whatever. I don't understand why, but it's just like the last 2 relationships I was in, the one prior, not the last one, but the one before that, I'm finally over. And that took 4 fucking years. And I'm all right about the last one, but I still think there's some shit that needs to be handled that'll never get handled. So it's just like, and it does. It ruins with how I approach women now. It fucks up because
we can talk about this. Jed, we can have a conversation about this after the podcast or something like that.
Yeah, we'll have to. I mean, that's there's a lot of shit I can handle mentally. I consider myself pretty mentally tough, but that one thing really fucks me up. And I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, I think at this point, everybody's had some kind of shitty childhood, so I'm sure it has something to do with it. But something in particular, I have no idea why.
I think part of the reason is we don't have an instruction manual when we're born.
Yeah, I know, but it's like some people can figure this out, some can't. I'm one of those that can't, so I need to, kind of figure out how to move on from that a little bit. So, so just that one exercise. I mean, at least I could get the feeling to go away, and then hopefully the rest will go away with it.
Yeah,
But yeah, what I was getting to earlier is I think we're going to get to a point to where we're going to hit another level that we never thought possible. I mean, as far as like thinking, communicating, emotions, capabilities, and it's all going to be with how we look and perspective and stuff. Just relating colors to emotions and changing it like that. Like I never would have thought.
Yeah.
Because you would never think those things would go together.
You
like
never
just
think,
because you can relate the color change that symbolizes you fucking switching it to something else. And it's like, that's genius. Simple, but it's fucking genius. Why don't we all think like that? I mean,
because
that's
nobody wants to open their mind to the possibility that this could be it. People would rather spend time thinking I need drugs. I have to spend, $30 a month on these antidepressants. I have to spend $1,000 a month on a therapist. Something as simple as that, which I could tell you worked phenomenally for me, phenomenally for you, and it's working for you because it's so simple, effective. Where's the money going to be made in it? That's the reality behind it.
That's the reality.
That's the reality is that they'd rather spend thousands of dollars of talking to a therapist as opposed to a simple solution that just, you got to put the work in. A therapist and drug. No, we got you. We'll just talk to me.
Yeah, don't go to these guys. Don't go to these guys.
$1,500 an hour. Just talk to me. Yeah. What we do is we want to help you. We want to give you practical advice, and that's the thing. That's what this was about: practical, actual advice.
How many of those therapists have actually been through what you've been through too? Like, me as a trainer, I've given every excuse that I'm going to hear, and that's why when I say shit, it triggers these people because I know what to say.
I'll tell you this.
Therapist went through a shit situation.
I'll tell you this. I've been to 4 therapists so far. All 4 of them completely eccentric. Batshit crazy. I'm not even kidding you. I had this one therapist, this female therapist, and she would play some music in the background, and she would spend at least about 5 to 10 minutes doing a little ritual. She would just walk around the room. And then she would sit down, and then she'd take her notepad and she'd start asking me these questions. And I remember, this is so vivid in my head. Not even once did she ever tell me or suggest to me, I should be doing this. I should be doing this. She just kept asking me, why? And it just got to the point, I'm like, okay, you know what? Fuck this shit. You've been asking me why for the past 1 hour. How much am I going to take? I'm not going to sit here and listen to why. I want to know how. And that's where we come in. That's where Dom and I come in. We're focused on the how. We don't care about the why. The why already happened. It already happened. We don't care about it. And I'm not saying that to offend anybody. I'm just saying we want to help you with the how. We want to help you so that you can take the tools that we're giving you and now use it to get rid of the why, to get rid of all of that shit that's been bugging you in the past.
That's the difference between therapists and everything. Why did it happen? Well, what did that? Okay. Happen? How do we change this now? How did it happen? How do we change it? That's NLP broken down very, very simply.
Yep.
Well, we're over the hour mark, so I'm gonna cut it. Unless you guys got something else you want to put out before we call it a day.
No, just thanks for coming on, Akira, man. This was
anytime you want to come on, you fucking let me know. We will make time.
Thank you. Love you guys. You guys, are awesome.
Everybody needs to listen to this. You need to share this to your friends. You need to fucking take something from this. Everybody can get something from this podcast today. So, I'm glad you came on, and
I'm very honored. Thank you for having me.
I would love to have you on again sometime in the future. If you have something something else you want to talk about or go over, we'd be more than happy to bring you on.
We're going to bring Akira. We're also going to bring Ross Jeffries himself on.
Oh yeah.
He messaged me about it.
Is he down to do it?
He wanted to. He was like, "What about me?" And I was like, "Look, I want you to, I was like, I want to wait for our viewing to get up a little higher, and we're still, in the infancy stages of this podcast. So he definitely will be happy to come on. So we can have maybe not this month and maybe another month or two to have like another reconversation about this. But I would definitely want to get a more viewing of definitely have a lot more comments and a better topic, because this guy's been around for 37 years. He's not here to fuck around. He's a great, best teacher we ever have, but he's not here to fuck around. He'll come here. He'll blow our brains out. We'll be like,
and Jed,
when we're done.
Jed, you thought you saw something. You ain't seen nothing yet.
You ain't seen nothing.
Yeah, I want to meet this guy.
Ross will blow your mind. He'll blow your fucking mind. Trust me.
Yep. So we'll Akira, talk to him. I'll talk to him too about wanting to come
Yeah.
on.
I'll message him. I'm gonna jump on a call with him right away after this.
Next month. Hopefully he watches this too, and then hopefully gets a little warm and fuzzy. Like it's my boys. You know what I mean? So all right, hey, thanks for coming on again, bro.
Thanks, man.
All right, y'all take care, man. I'll see you later.
All right.
All right.